Calculating Solar PV String Size, a step-by-step video tutorial. Planning a solar power system, one crucial step is string sizing. Get it right and you'll maximize your system's efficiency and longevity. Let's break it down. Hi everyone and welcome to AK Electric DIY. Today we're diving into the world of solar PV string sizing. It might sound complex but we'll simplify it for you. By the end of this video, you'll be able to calculate string size for your own solar system. Section 1. Understanding the basics. What is a PV string? A PV string is a series of solar panels connected together to form a single electrical circuit. Series and parallel connections in PV strings. Series connection. How it works. Panels are connected in a chain, so the positive terminal of one panel is connected to the negative terminal of the next. Effect on voltage. The voltage of each panel adds up, resulting in a higher overall system voltage. Effect on current. The current remains the same as that of a single panel. Parallel connection. How it works. The positive terminals of all panels are connected together and the negative terminals are connected together. Effect on voltage. The voltage remains the same as that of a single panel. Effect on current. The current of each panel adds up, resulting in a higher overall system current. Why it matters. The choice between series and parallel connections depends on the specific requirements of your solar system, including inverter compatibility. Inverters have maximum input voltage and current limits. The string configuration must be within these limits. Shading and mismatch losses. Series connections are more sensitive to shading, as a single shaded panel can significantly reduce the output of the entire string. Parallel connections are less affected by shading, thus each panel operates independently. Common configuration series parallel. This is the most common configuration, combining both series and parallel connections to optimize both voltage and current. Series only, used when the inverter has a high maximum input voltage and the panels are not prone to shading. Parallel only, used when the inverter has a high maximum input current and shading is not a major concern. Section 2. Key factors to consider solar panel specifications. Here are some key specifications and their significance. Maximum power output. P max. This is the maximum amount of electrical power a solar panel can produce under standard test conditions, STC. A higher P max generally indicates a more efficient panel. Efficiency. This measures how efficiently a solar panel converts sunlight into electricity. Higher efficiency means more power output for a given panel size. Open circuit voltage, VOC. This is the maximum voltage a solar panel can produce when no current is flowing. It's important for ensuring compatibility with inverters and other system components. Short circuit current, ISC. This is the maximum current a solar panel can produce when its terminals are short-circuited. It's another factor that influences the overall power output. Maximum power point voltage, VMP, and current or IMP. These are the voltage and current values at the point of maximum power output. They are crucial for optimizing system performance. Temperature coefficient of power, TCP. This indicates how much a panel's power output decreases with increasing temperature. A lower TCP is desirable as it means the panel's performance will be less affected by high temperatures. Section 3. Inverter specifications. Solar inverters are essential components of any solar power system. They convert the direct current, DC power generated by solar panels, into alternating current, AC power that can be used to power your home or business. Key inverter specifications. Inverter power rating. This is the maximum amount of AC power the inverter can produce. It's essential to choose an inverter that matches the total power output of your solar panels. Input voltage range. This specifies the range of DC voltages the inverter can accept from your solar panels. It's important to ensure that the voltage output of your solar panels falls within this range. Maximum input current. This is the maximum amount of DC current the inverter can handle. It's crucial to consider this when designing your solar panel array. Number of MPPT trackers. MPPT, maximum power point tracking. Technology helps the inverter extract maximum power from your solar panels, even in varying light conditions. More MPPT trackers allow for better performance, especially in systems with multiple solar arrays or different orientations. Efficiency. Inverter efficiency measures how efficiently it converts DC power to AC power. Higher efficiency means less energy loss and better overall system performance. Grid tie or off-grid. Grid tie inverters are designed to connect to the utility grid, while off-grid inverters can operate independently, often with battery storage. AC output voltage and frequency. These specifications ensure compatibility with your local electrical grid. Over voltage and overcurrent protection. These features protect the inverter and your solar panels from damage caused by excessive voltage or current. Cooling system. The inverter's cooling system helps maintain optimal operating temperature and prevents overheating. When choosing a solar inverter, it's crucial to consult with a qualified solar installer to ensure that you select the right inverter for your specific needs. Section 4. The calculation process. Step-by-step guide. In the previous section, we examined inverter specification sheets. In this section, we'll combine photovoltaic module and array data to find the appropriate inverter for the system. Let's begin by looking at an example where we need a 6500 watt or 6.5 kilowatt system and then choose a module and an inverter that matches this requirement. We're going to use this example of an inverter that has a nominal output of 6000 watts and a maximum usable input of 7800 watts. So we're going to start with the assumption that 6500 watts are required and we're using 550 watts photovoltaic modules. By dividing 6500 watts by 550 watts per module, we get 11.8 modules. Because we can't have a fractional module, we'll need to round down to 12 modules. So now we know our system will have 12 photovoltaic modules. And these modules are listed as having an open circuit voltage of 50.20 volts and a maximum power voltage of 42.58 volts. The short circuit current is rated as 13.89 amps and the maximum power current is rated at 12.91 amps. Now that we have the values for the input of the inverter and the output of the photovoltaic panels, we can determine if the system will work together. First, we'll look at what happens when we wire 12 modules in series. We want to look at the absolute highest voltage the system could produce, which would be at open circuit conditions. The VOC at STC is 50.20 volts and multiplied by 12 modules gives us a total system voltage of 602.4 volts. By looking at the spec sheets on the inverter, we see that the maximum input voltage is 500 volts. That means that this system in a series string will not work with this inverter, and it's also at an excessively high voltage. To solve this problem, we'll instead try a parallel string to provide two series strings. If we have two series strings, then there are only 6 modules per string, and 6 modules times the 50.2 VOC is 301.2 volts. This is acceptable because it's below the 600 volt maximum. 6 modules times the 42.58 volt maximum power voltage is 255.48 volts. Which is within the operating range of the inverter as well. The next step is to look at the maximum current that could be produced by the photovoltaic modules, which is the short circuit condition. We are now working under the assumption that we'll have two series strings and each string has a short circuit current of 13.89 amps. Well, 13.89 amps multiplied by the two strings that we determined previously is 27.78 amps. Looking again at the specification sheet for the inverter, we see the maximum input current for that inverter is 17 plus 17 amps 2 MPPT trackers. So we're below the maximum input current allowed for the inverter. In this case, it appears that the final design would include two strings of 6 550 watt modules. The total system power is still calculated to be 6600 watts under standard test conditions. This is a little bit lower than the maximum usable input power of the inverter of 7800 watts. When the PV array output is too far below the maximum usable input power of the inverter, we would want to consider an inverter that has a slightly lower input requirement in order to maximize the overall system efficiency. Still, it would work in our case here. So we selected on two strings of 6 solar modules. But is that the only option? Well, let's look at other possibilities. We know that there are 12 modules that are being considered and that one string of 12 provides a voltage that is too high. 12 modules could be wired in several ways, however, such as one string of 12, two strings of 6, 3 strings of 4, and so on. So let's see what happens when we try 3 strings of 4. In this case, each string would have an open circuit voltage of 200.8 volts and 170.32 volts at maximum power. This fits within the specifications of the inverter, which requires less than 500 volts at VOC and that the operating range be less than 200.8 volts, because we're going to have 3 strings in parallel. However, we need to add the current for each string. In this case, it would be 13.89 amperes, which is the short circuit current for each string, multiplied by 3. This gives us an operating short circuit current of 41.67 amps, which exceeds the maximum input. This means that we cannot have 3 strings of 4, and our only option in this case is 2 strings of 6 for this inverter and module pair. Now, there are situations where modules can be wired in several different ways to meet the input requirements for both current and voltage of the inverter. In general, high voltages pervert over high current, so there's less loss due to resistance, which is also why we wouldn't want to use, say, 6 strings of 2 or where low voltages with large numbers of parallel strings. So in summary, the process of choosing an inverter begins with first defining the size or the power of the photovoltaic array. You must then choose a module and an inverter and balance the output of the photovoltaic string with the inverter's input requirements. You'll likely need to go through a few iterations to match and maximize the system efficiency.